Hello again, wonderful people. Here we are. It's our Wednesday and got some sort of special event going on at trying to get over the noise. Some sort of event that they want to do out at the temple, some sort of blessing. I was trying to look it up last night. I did find a reference in the Tibetan Buddhist calendar of something about the coming back to earth of the ascended Buddha or something. I don't know if that's really the reason, but we're off to the temple anyway. But what we're going to talk about today, which is a point that's been raised recently by a few people, and they all want a story about how me and Shania met. So, well, maybe I'll just do a video today on how we met. So stick around and we'll tell you how we got on. Well, it was a bit of a drive out here. We've actually been to this temple before. This is the one where the monk and the turtle have some sort of relationship. It's the only sort of representation of a turtle in their Buddhist theology, as far as I know, here in Thailand. But the Tibetan tradition today is something to do with the res, well, not ascension, but Buddha came back down from heaven to earth for some reason, and supposedly making merit today has a millionfold return. So I guess that could be sort of one reason why we're here. And of course we've got speakers everywhere. Oh my God. That always does make it a bit difficult to actually tell a story about how we met. But we'll find a place to do that very shortly. Take our shoes off. Take the shoes off. Tradition is you've got to walk around underneath the turtle 3 times for good luck. So we'll quickly get that done. Last time we were here was an absolute chockers with people. Being a Wednesday, I think we're a little bit easier today. But anyway, while we're sort of waiting to do all the merit making, a quick word from our sponsors. No, we don't have any sponsors. But don't forget, we do have a Patreon and we do have a membership. Links to that below. You're always welcome to join us as part of the special group of people that we look after. You can just do the damn thing, okay. If you have an objection to the whole idea of that, that's fair enough, you're up to that. But then don't forget we have our Odyssey system as well. Our channel's now on Odyssey. There's a link to that down there below as well. You can join that too, and you can watch our videos ad-free, so there you go. Always taking care of everybody. But anyway, there's the girls doing their merit making and making their blessings. She's a very devout Buddhist. Okay, now a little bit of circumambulation. Number three. You've got to do it in a certain order. Put the gold on the guy, on the turtle. Pretty impressive statue though. Anyway, so the reason why you're probably watching this video is, of course, it's a story of how we met. Well, it's a story of how we met and where we met. The questions always vary quite a lot. And the where we met is very simple to describe. It was Silom. We met in Silom. That's Saladeng, the BTS, that area, more famously known as the Patpong area. And just sort of saying that's going to conjure up all these different images to people. So we tend to avoid the discussion because the fact that it probably takes me half an hour to explain the whole story of why we met in Patpong. Well, not in Patpong, but in that area. But yes, we met in Silom. And I actually used the word Silom as opposed to Patpong because we didn't actually meet in Patpong. We met outside Patpong, more sort of underneath the BTS area. There's a sort of coffee shop there on the eastern side of Tanon Silom. And the reason for that is I was looking for a taxi. I was trying to get home because I'd been out with the boys. We had a hangout there in Patpong Soi 1 or sorry, 2 was it? Can't remember. It was called the Target 2 pool hall. It was a place that, it's like an expat retreat. There was no working girls allowed in the place. It was specifically a pool hall and a drinking area. Farangs were the priority, and the working girls were told to get away. And if you wanted to do working girls, you had to go downstairs into the street area. So it was like our retreat from the madness of Patpong. And I'd been coming there for quite a few years. So basically we had an office in that area. So at first we had an office just above Patpong, which was a Serve Corp office or rental, and then of course from there we moved down into Saton, which is closer to the Tuxan Bridge sort of area. But yeah, still worked in that basic area. But yeah, that's where we met. How we met is a very interesting story too. And that takes longer to explain. So let's finish off the perambulations here and we'll see if we can go into that area. Looks like we've got some sort of ritual of riding on a new roof for something. I'm pretty sure they're going to sort of partake in that part, putting your name in a roof somewhere. Some of the traditions here is a little, they literally escape me why these things are so important, but makes them happy, that's the main thing. Write your name, write your name. Write your name, yes, yes. Yes, the story of how we met. That's a strange one. It takes a long time to tell, and so normally when people really want to know the story or the full depth of the story, the best thing is to join our Discord channel. Come and ask me. I'm quite happy to tell you because it's quite complicated, and it literally spans 2 months of different aspects of how we got together. Not easy trying to sort of get a word in amongst the guy on the speakerphone there, but yeah, meeting was a culmination of events, which was the fact that, as I said, I worked in Silom there. Oh, go away. We're definitely going to have to find a quieter area with this guy in the background, but yeah, so for 5 years, for 4 years, from 2005 through to 2009, I'd been coming there to service, the computer systems in the office we had, or the offices we had there, and I got to know a lot of the people that around that area, especially in Patpong, the owners, and because there was, back in those days, being a Farang in Thailand, had special significance in that area simply because, I won't even go on to explain. That's the Patpong Museum is open again as of now, 1st of November coming up. So we'll do a video on that on Friday, I think. But you can definitely sort of go and check that out and get an idea of the cultural significance of Farang in Thailand, in that area. I'm not going to go into the details. But yeah, to suffice it to say, I worked in that area, so I got to know a lot of stuff that goes on. I knew how the scene played out. We quite often, I'm competing against this guy. Shut the yeah. I'm certainly not going to try to give you any details about how this temple has significance with the turtle and everything else, but I'm pretty sure that I'll drop a pin below. You can find where the location is and do your own research in Wiki or something like that. But it has quite an interesting story. I do remember reading up on it last time I was here. Yeah, so some of the key points that you've got to remember about that area, of course, you have Patpong, you have all the working girls, you have all the bar girls, you have all the go-go dancers and everything else. As a foreigner working in Thailand, you got to know what the play of the land is. In my case, I had just been divorced 6 months earlier, so my divorce was finalised September 2008 or something around about that time. I can't remember. Memory serves me correctly, around that time, so just before the GFC. That's the global financial crisis, if you don't remember your acronyms. So yeah, when I got there on this January trip, I got there. I remember the dates. It was January the 18th. So I was I had to work the next day, so I sort of dropped into the Target 2 pool hall, had a few drinks, played a few games of pool, got to see the guys, and said to them, I think it was about 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the evening, I just said, look guys, I got to work in the morning, I'm out of here, so I'll catch you tomorrow night. So that was it. I just walked out there. And if you know the area, you don't catch taxis outside Patpong. That's just a no-no. Basically, they're the taxis that want to rip you off. They're the taxis that won't move unless, of course, you make an agreement of how much the taxi is going to cost. And I was only going to go down maybe sort of 1.5 kilometres down the road to the Narai Hotel. So I certainly wasn't going to pay 500 baht, But of course, if you spend any time working in Thailand, you just don't pick up a taxi there. What you do is you walk up the road underneath the station, not outside Patpong. So I just crossed the road, wove my way across the other side of the road, as you do, wandered up the road, heading north there, because that's where the taxis would normally pick up just people off the BTS. So that's where we went. So that's where the taxis are. That's where you go. Anyway, just walking up there, just looking for a taxi. There's a few on the rank. But as I'm waiting there, I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around and I see Shania there, dressed in pink, doled up to the nines, and I'm going, the first thing that goes through your mind is, well, she's very tall for a Thai girl. But again, I was single, and I enjoy playing the field a bit. I said, well, let's see if she passes all the tests. One of the things you've got to remember is what sort of job do they have? So one of the first questions I asked there was, where do you work? And she told me she worked in the Bangkok Cabaret show. And of course, here's me ticking over some thoughts. Bangkok Cabaret is a fairly famous cabaret in Bangkok. It's almost up there with Tiffany's from Pattaya. But anyway, I'm competing against this guy again, so hold on. Well, if she wants her million fold return, I guess she's going to have to get herself a lottery ticket so the money can come in. Can't win the lottery unless, of course, you buy a ticket, of course. What temple's complete without a lottery stand? But anyway, getting back to it, so, she tapped on the shoulder and said hi. And of course, back those days, I have better Thai now than I did then. I think I knew about half a dozen sort of sentences in Thai back then. Sawadi krap, sabadi mai krap, kun chorai, what's your name? Nice to meet you, indi tira rujak. I also knew how to direct a taxi, like leo tsai, leo kwa, tong bai. Just the basics of the Thai language. But that really does serve you quite well if you're trying to sort of, get to know the locals. Speaking a little bit of Thai always helps. So that sort of put me in pretty good stand because, she come up to me and tapped me on the shoulder, and said hello in English. So, and I said hello back in Thai, which sort of established a sort of a two-way communications thing starting. Of course, she worked at a cabaret, so she wasn't a bar girl. She wasn't a go-go dancer. She wasn't a hooker. You get the whole idea. So another checkbox. She has a regular job, which is one of the things you really need to look for. You don't want to be supporting somebody in an industry where the industry can be a bit sort of dicey. She checked that box. We sat down and talked for about maybe 20 minutes, and from there, I just said,
Just talk for a bit.
Yeah. That's it. And I just said, you want to come back to my hotel? And she said, yes. And that was the start of the relationship. Well, it wasn't really the start of a relationship. I didn't think about relationships. I just sort of had having a bit of fun. A tall girl, question mark, like I said, transgender people has never been negative in my mind, if you know what I mean. And I had transgender affairs with throughout my life, so it's just something that I was already used to, I already knew about. And so that was what was going through my mind. Was very tall, so the voice, the looks, everything. She was very well presented. I'm pretty sure this one here is, she's a ladyboy. And I'm going, yeah, well, a bit of fun for the night. That was my idea for the Sunday night, Monday morning, go to work, she can leave the hotel and probably never meet her again. Yes, that was basically how it started. So there I was, she's in my taxi, we went back to my hotel, and that's when the fun started. So here's me quite sure that I'm taking a transgender home, with all the things that entail with that. As we moved into getting intimate for the evening, she totally blew my mind because something was missing. Well, what do you do? In my case, I had never been in that situation before, which added a bit of intrigue. What things did I miss on? What things went wrong? Like the whole thing. There was just, you had everything planned, and all of a sudden somebody throws you a curveball. Oh my God, I'm out of my depth here. What am I going to do? Is she a girl? Is she transgender? Sort of things going through your mind. So that was a surprise. Anyhow, cut a long story short, she went home in the morning. She had the Cabaret gig for the whole week down in there. But I said to her, look, when you finish, come and meet me at the Target 2. We hang at the park, me and my friends hang out at Target 2. So come and join us there, But there's some sort of stigma, with that sort of industry and those sort of girls, not to really go to those sort of places. But I didn't know that. That was one of the sort of missing parts of my my discovery of Patpong and the way the night sort of life and everything else works. Anyhow, so a few days went past. I hooked up with somebody else on the Wednesday, and then I met the Target 2 on Thursday night again, playing pool with the boys, and everything's flashing back through your mind. I'd really like to go and hang out with Candy again. She was fun, So what did I do? Well, I left early. I went back to the same cafe area where I met her the first, well, she met me the first time, and there she is. Like me, sort of being who I was, just walked up to this girl. Now, from a distance, it looked like Shania, and this is the thing. It looked like Shania, sort of about the same height as Shania, everything else. And I walked up and it says, "Hi, how you going?" And she's like, she came through and sort of, it's almost like I'd never met her before. And here's me sort of, we spent Sunday night together. How could she forget me? So again, another curveball thrown there. So I got talking with her, and I said, "Would you want to come back to my hotel again?" And then Michelle, her name was Michelle, she turns around and she says, "I'm a ladyboy." And I'm going, hold on a second, didn't we just spend a night together? And then as soon as that happened, this is like happening in seconds. It's not drawn out like I'm telling you. It was instantaneous process going on in my mind. And then all of a sudden I hear, Wallen, from the distance, from about 20 yards away. There's Shania with her other girlfriends, from the cabaret, and she just sort of just noticed me talking to Michelle. Now Michelle happens to be Shania's best friend. My God, talk about dodging that bullet. That could have completely blown the whole thing out of the water. Anyhow, so I apologised to Michelle. I'm looking for Shania. And so then walked up to Shania and we started talking again. We laughed at the whole situation. And then half an hour later, she's rocking back to my hotel again. So all the fun to have some more fun, as you might say. To cut a long story short, Friday she went back home. What's this? Emroy? No, I don't want my Emroy. No. Cut a long story short, as I said, I explained to her the fact that, the weekend's coming up. I've got to go to a work party on Friday night, but I will be at the Target 2 at 9 p.m. I wrote it down for her, so meet me there. So I'm sort of at the Target 2, and waiting for her at 9 o'clock, and she didn't show up. So I started talking to another girl on the bar there. She was just one of the staff there. We're just talking. Actually, no, she wasn't. She was an expat. Well, not really. She was a Thai expat, which means She actually spoke English, well, she spoke American English, if you might be more precise. She was a Thai girl that lived in America for a few years, so she spoke perfect English, and we started having a conversation. This was about 9:30, and she turns, I think her name was Tina, and she turns around to me about 9:30 and says, well, are you here with anybody? And I just said, well, just so happens, I am actually waiting for somebody to turn up, but she's not turned. We were supposed to meet at 9. And she says, you know, that happens all the time here in Thailand, because, you know, I didn't really understand Thai time in those days. But cut a long story short, she says, this happens all the time. Right, and as soon as she's basically said that, Shania walked in the door. And from that point in time, that was me sort of confirming that she wanted to be with me, right? And we spent the weekend together. She saw me off at the airport. I explained to her I'm coming back to Bangkok in March, and would she like to spend 2 weeks with me while I'm here on a business trip? And she said, yeah, so that's how it started. I know it's probably not the grandiose story, but it's one of those things. Just everything fell into place, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's how we met. That's where we met and how we met. If you want more of those details, quite happy to share those details with you on our Discord channel. But this is YouTube. You've got to keep it above the line, you know what I mean. But I can tell you some of the other stuff that really was quite funny in that whole week that I was here. And sort of feed in on some of the more elaborate details of the weird stuff that happened that week. But as I said, I was open, I was single, recently divorced, and she just came into my life, and this is 12 and a half years later, we're still together, we're still deeply in love. You can't separate us. Even when all their crazy friends decide to drop around to the house and hang out and take us to temples, and you know what it's like, it's just, life is just joyful. Anyway, we're going to have to find somewhere for lunch. I think she says we're going to have some noodles somewhere, so we'll close this bit here and pick it up again when we get to lunch. Well, the plan was to actually stop at a little eatery up near, just a long story. Excuse me. We stopped at a roadside diner, so they had noodles and just one of those sort of things. It was a friend's place up there anyway. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. Got some junk food.
Banana.
Banana.
Yes, for you.
อร่อยมาก
Okay, have to enjoy my video and support, subscribe, like and share.
And in Thai again, so tell him in Thai.
ขอบคุณค่ะที่คอย support แล้วก็กดไลค์กดแชร์แล้วก็หวังว่าทุกคนควรจะดูวิดีโอเยอะนะคะขอบคุณมากค่ะ
You sure? You sure? No, I swap this one. I don't like the spicy one. I want the sweet one, and the sweet one, you can have the spicy one. Yummy. Kanom. Yummy. Anyway, we're out of here. Hope you enjoyed that, and just leave your comments below. Got any questions? Put them down there. I'll try to answer what I can. But as I said, the more sensitive questions, join us on the Discord, and we'll be able to talk to you down there without fear of retribution and whatever bizarre sort of rules that YouTube have about those sort of more sensitive topics. Anyway, peace out, and we'll catch you later.
I want you to lift me up so